and I teach at Simmons College. I'm an instructor in the communications department. I've been teaching there for about 7 years, and before that I would have introduced myself as Ellen Grabiner. I'm a painter. But in fact, in the last 7 years since I've been teaching full-time at Simmons, I've been doing almost no painting. However, it's been a very exciting time for me. I've been going through a lot of changes in terms of my work, and I've been doing a lot of work on the computer, a lot of digital imaging. At the beginning of my time at Simmons, I was asked to design a course in visual communication. And I said, oh, sure. And then I went home and went, like, what's visual communication? So I started to go online, look at other courses that had similar titles, look at syllabi, and I was going to do this big chunk of reading, so I might as well get some credit for it. So it was at the age of 52 that I decided to get a doctorate. I had decided to do an image diary based on this book by Ludwig Wittgenstein called Philosophical Investigations. It's this very bizarre book. It's these numbered paragraphs. There's 693 numbered paragraphs. And each one is intended to stand on its own, although they are connected and relate back to each other. And so I decided that as I read his numbered paragraphs, I was going to do snapshots, visual snapshots of my connections to what I was seeing as I was reading his work. And that's what the digital work in this show is about. There's this famous thing that he said, a thing that he's famous for saying, which is the title of the show, which is "Don't think, but look." And I think what artists, all artists, dancers, musicians, composers, visual artists do, is they look very carefully at something. And it can be a tomato, or it can be an idea, or a feeling, or a movement. Whatever the object is, what the artist does is look at it, and I'm using look to mean experience, to be with it, to see what its texture is, to penetrate it, to go deeper into it, to let it present itself to you, to let it open up and become what it is. Several of the images, he talks about families and family relationships. So I did portraits, if you want to call them that. I did one of my mother and one of my father, and one of myself. The one about my father, I think, is particularly, I'm really pleased with it. My father died when I was 15, and it was this horrible, tragic, unexpected death, which had to do with his heart. So I ended up creating this image of him with the Queen of Hearts. Is an indistinct photograph a picture of a person at all? Is it even always an advantage to replace an indistinct picture by a sharp one? Isn't the indistinct one often exactly what we need? So these portraits are, in their own way, very indistinct, and they're blurred. And this was a lot of what I was talking about in my dissertation, that there's a high premium in our culture on clarity. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to be in control. You're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to have the answers. So to approach a tomato or a feeling or an idea or a meeting or a situation and not know, and just be open to what, using Heidegger's term, what presence is in that moment, is scary, and it's not really valued in our culture. But I think it's only through approaching our experience that way that we actually have the experience. And so that means not being clear all the time, and not having boundaries around what we think is going to happen. My grandfather was a carpenter, and he was an amazingly talented man. I inherited his tools, so I have this old drill and this old all kinds of things that I scanned into the scanner and used as part of a couple of the images. So they're immensely personal, even though they come out of this very impersonal reading of some dead guy's thoughts, dead, famous, very smart guy's thoughts. And it'd be very. I'm looking forward to hearing how people see them and how they're received, and if they resonate with people, or if they're too personal and they just make sense to me. And it'd be cool to see how other people respond to the work. You want to say anything? You want to wag your tail? What are you talking about?